Hello and welcome to the Comic Conspiracy Podcast, episode 484 this is Thursday, January 21st, recording a little late. We'll talk about that in a second. My name is Ryan Higgins, who's here this week.
And Brock Sager.
Not again.
I know, it's a two-man show, man.
Reverted to 10 years ago. Where's everyone? It's a weird day. People pay attention. I mean, there was other news this week, shockingly enough, but some news earlier this week was extreme winds in California again, causing the resurgence of
a few fires,
power outages, and fires. It's January and you're already in fires. So, look out, 2021. You're 2020. You're run for its money.
So people in the Midwest have always said that they don't want to come to California because it's just going to fall into the ocean because of earthquakes. I think it's just going to burn off of
Earthquakes are the least of my worries. Yeah.
Even though we've had 6 in the past week.
There's been these tiny little earthquakes. I haven't felt a single one.
So I felt one. Was it Saturday night?
Yeah.
I was getting food and I was sitting in my truck waiting for it, and my truck was moving, and I'm like, "What the fuck?" And then I guess we had one today that was around Concord. The epicenter was around Concord.
Yeah, there's stuff north of us, but we never feel that down here. We got some news to talk about. We're also going to talk about the first 2 episodes of WandaVision. I know when the rest of the cast is here, I'm sure they're going to have stuff to say. And like we do with the TV shows, we're not talk about every episode every week, but we'll touch base on it probably at least once, and then once more at the finale. I would assume I'll kind of give everyone there.
Or unless it's just a really dope ass episode.
Yeah, sure. If something crazy happens, sure. But yeah, we're gonna WandaVision will be at the end of the episode, so feel free to skip that. And episode 3 will be out tomorrow. Or actually, by the time I posted this, episode 3 will probably be on shortly after. So, we'll.
Is it dropping at Eastern time?
I think it's noon or midnight our time, or 3 a.m.
Okay. So they shifted it to 3 a.m. Okay.
I think the first up. I think that's all the Disney Plus. I think it's 3 a.m. East Coast. I could be wrong. I never watch it at that time. I barely stay awake.
Yeah.
I wouldn't want to stay up till 3 a.m. watching TV. I'd never.
I know HBO Max is on 12 Eastern time.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, because whenever last week tonight with John Oliver was on, if it was 9:30, I knew I could watch it.
Yeah. I never wait. Yeah, so that'll be at the end of the episode. We'll do that after questions and stuff, so you guys can skip over that if you do not want to be spoiled. However, we got a couple of things to talk about here. Now, this is owner prerogative here. Obviously, not the most important news story of the week, but one I am excited for. So I'm going to mention this.
I'm going to preface this by saying, man-child Ryan Higgins is super excited for this because it's a throwback to a more innocent age.
I don't know what that even means. It's one of my favorite characters. After a decade of mistreatment, Darkhawk is returning for a 30th anniversary special.
What, you didn't like him in War of Realms?
Oh, it's been...
Or War of Kings?
He was in was it Avengers Academy, maybe?
Was he in Academy?
He was in one of those Avengers spin-off books. It was shit. He was in some other team-up book that was shit. He had some really terrible one-shots that were connected to
nonsense
events. It are all fucking horrible, just fucking horrible. That said, original writer Tom DeFalco, and Danny Fingeroth original writer Danny Fingeroth and artist Mike Manley are coming back to do a new story, co-created by Tom DeFalco. So they're coming back to do kind of a flashback story. There's going to be, let's see, I had the full list here. Dan Abnett is returning, who wrote him in the Guardians of the Galaxy / War Realms.
No, War of Kings. It's the War of Kings stuff.
That whole, I meant that whole set of books.
Half of it was good, and then the other half wasn't.
The Darkhawk stuff or War Realms?
The Darkhawk stuff in War of Kings.
War Kings.
Half of it was good, and then half of it was huh?
Yeah, I don't remember. I don't remember.
It was like it was he was like they had him, and then they had like the evil version of him or something.
There's like Raptor or something like that.
Yeah, like and they were just and Raptors just.
Yeah, they've continued. So he's shown up in some of the recent Guardians comics, and the Al Ewing. So they just announced today was it issue 13 or 14? I can't remember what it is, but the new team for Guardians of the Galaxy, and Darkhawk's going to be in that. Or wait, no, Nova's going to be in that, not Darkhawk. Sorry, he was in the Darkhawk.
Your favorite characters mixed up there, Higgins.
Nova's been better since he returned. Most of the Nova stuff has been okay. But Kyle Higgins is going to be writing a new story that will be sort of the push to new stuff coming forward with Darkhawk. And Kyle Higgins has been doing it's Power Rangers comics recently. So this stuff is pretty good. So yeah, I'm very, very excited for this. Darkhawk's one of my favorites. So hopefully this will just completely dunk the last 10 years of that character out the window and just be like, let's just
now, as a Darkhawk fan, such a Darkhawk fan, are you going to get a copy for all the subscribers in the store?
Absolutely not. I'll get 5 copies for the shelf because it's Darkhawk. Like, I'm not stupid. It's just a one shot, but like hopefully this means there's going to be a new miniseries or the character's going to show up other places. So I'm
maybe they'll go back to when Guardians of the Galaxy team that's actually good.
Yeah. I mean, the most of the recent runs have been okay. The Benda stuff was fine. The Donny Cates stuff is pretty good. The L. Ewing, the current series has been okay. They tried too hard, I think, to force the movie team into the books, and it just never really clicked. I mean, it works in the movie, but the books just never really worked.
Abnett and Lanning did such an amazing job,
but they didn't try to it wasn't like a funny title.
No, there was humor in it. Humor happened in it. It wasn't, but it wasn't driven by. But it wasn't driven by the humor. But they did such an amazing job, kind of revitalizing that group of misfits.
Yeah.
So Darkhawk one shot. When you're gonna have tons of information on when the solicitation drops, so people can pre-order it.
Solicitations went up today. Pre-orders next week.
Nice.
Yeah, on the hub. Got my Darkhawk going on. I'm sure there'll be 12 variant covers that I won't qualify for, but what are you gonna do? Another big Marvel news.
Give one to everybody in the store. Done.
Another big Marvel news. Dropped this past week. We were talking about Donny Cates a few minutes ago. Obviously, his run on Venom has been kind of one of the big success stories for Marvel the last couple of years. Mm-hmm. They're in the middle of King Black right now, which is the big Venom event, and they are confirming that Donny Cates and Ryan Segment is ending their run with the upcoming issue number 200.
So, isn't Venom on issue 30?
I think it's 32 or 33 is the most recent, and then it goes 33, 34, 200.
Oh, gee.
Because Marvel they just love to do this. Really annoying. The numbering is just super annoying. I hate it when Marvel does this.
I'm just half tempted.
And then they'll just relaunch the next issue with the number 1 by the new creative team the following month. So
I'm just half tempted to, with Marvel books, just start taking and just chucking them into the section. Don't even organize them at this point. Just Amazing Spider-Man, however many volumes of that, just chuck it. Just throw it in the front. Oh, I got this stack. Okay, it's going in the front. Oh, I got this stack. It's going in the front.
It is our job as the store to provide customers with the most possible sense.
Just call it hidden treasure.
If Marvel wants to do this, they can. We will be the better people and organize it so customers and fans can figure out what to buy.
But you do realize that jerk customers are just going to put it out of order, and then we're going to have to fix it every 2 minutes. That's the life we've chosen for ourselves. Okay, that's just the way it is. So I'm pretty far back on Venom. I haven't started King of Black yet, but I've been slowly working my way through the series, trying to keep it current with Amazing Spider-Man as I've been catching up on that. So Donny Cates, this was always the end of the story. Him and Segment.
and Ryan Segment are going to be doing another book together. They're doing more stuff in Marvel together. So like this isn't the end of him. I mean, he's not leaving. Obviously he's Marvel's big creator right now. So I think Donny Cates is going to go on to bigger titles. But yeah, I mean, the Venom.
He's doing Thor and Venom.
Yeah, and I think he'll be on Thor for a while, I'm assuming, but he's going to be doing something else going on.
Yeah.
So April will be the last issue of his run of Venom.
Okay, so June is when we'll see what he's probably on, or July.
I mean, probably just the next month. They could do it in May. I mean, I don't think they're going to let him. They're not going to want him not having multiple books on the shelves. I think. I mean, maybe he'll get a month off or something, but I'm sure he's straight into whatever his next big book is. So yeah. It's Venom, big book for Marvel. Venom's never been a great seller for us, but the new series obviously has sold really well.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll see if the new creative teams can keep that going. It's just, man, like. I mentioned this before, like to other people, and I think we mentioned the podcast before. Donny Cates on like social media. Not him. I mean, like the people that interact with him are like the weirdest people, and he gets harassed just fucking constantly by people, just all day, every day. It's like really weird. A lot of really weird fans.
Well, it's kind of what happened with Tom King, like.
Tom King just gets a lot of hate. That's different. The people that are coming after Cates are like, they're like, I'm such a big fan and I love you, and because I love you so much, I want to kill you. Like that. Tom King, they're just like, I hate you because you made fictional characters do things I don't like.
Have feelings.
Yeah, the Donny Cates has really wacko fans, and there's a lot of like people push him constantly for like confirmation of things that would only be interested of speculators trying to drive up prices on their apps and everything like that. So, yeah, it's super annoying. So I hope I don't know, maybe part of that might just be Venom people and Donny Cates and speculator fans all kind of mixed together. I don't know. Hopefully that passes. I wish the guy could be on social media without being harassed fucking every other second.
Yeah.
So Venom,
I mean, the Venom people, I mean, most of them are okay, but they do have a fringe, some fringe people that are just.
Well, trust me, if every character has nutso fans, there was a was it in the new DC solicitations? There was something with Poison Ivy. I can't remember.
Oh God, the Poison Ivy people.
And yes, and every reply was from this fucking nutso group of Poison Ivy fans who were like, they want her to be a heroic character, and that was one of the people. Those are one of the groups that went after Tom King.
Yeah,
on social media when he had Poison Ivy kind of be a bad guy because she's a bad guy. Yeah. I mean, there's obviously in like the Harley books, she's more nuanced. But
the Gotham City Sirens, that whole group has been kind of the anti-hero heroes, right? It's Selina's a thief, but she's good. She wants to do good. Like Poison Ivy or blanking on her name, Pamela
Isley.
I
mean, they've pushed. I mean, Harley and Catwoman. I mean, Catwoman's been that sort of anti-hero for a long, long time now. Yeah. Harley was, that took a little while, but they pushed her in that direction. Poison Ivy, though, like, she's really still, like...
She's always been, like, it's either she's full bore, like, environmental, right, like, humans need to die, right, against the red, so to speak. And then, or she's reformed trying to be just a better person. So, like, she's always kind of had this, like, she's in the red, but in the green, in the red, in the green. I'm bringing up the whole Swamp Thing, Animal Man stuff.
Yeah, no, there is more nuance to Poison Ivy's character, but Harley and Catwoman are not going to kill people. Not now, not today, not these days. Fucking Poison Ivy would still kill half of humanity with a blink of an eye.
Yeah.
She's still a villain. Yeah. So it's a real weird fan base. And so, I mean, like I said, every character has that.
Oh, yeah. I remember that.
Those Darkhawk fans are really fucking weird. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah. Because I remember that
that is literally the joke I was making.
Yeah, no,
so
I was just piling on. I remember that when Poison Ivy went batshit nuts in the Batman run for Tom King, and she was controlling everybody. I remember that. That was They went crazy when that happened. I was like, okay.
Mm-hmm. So we're gonna move on to something a little bit more serious here, but there was a comic book relation. Obviously, we're celebrating a new president.
Woohoo!
God.
I had a great time yesterday watching my daughter watch Kamala Harris being sworn in.
Yeah, nice.
I have a really nice picture of her watching the stream of it.
Cool. That's great.
I would put it on Twitter, but
obviously 3 weeks ago, almost 3 weeks ago, there was it would have been 2 weeks ago.
2 weeks ago, yeah.
There was the terrorist attack and insurrection at the U.S. Capitol. But what does this have to do with comic books? You say, well, a number of people in the right-wing, alt-right, white supremacist terrorist groups were wearing Punisher symbols, which is pretty common, especially among corrupt police officers and wannabe mass murderers. But also Captain America shields, Captain America shield symbols, logos on some of their shirts. We got 2 sets of comments here. One from John Bernthal, who played Punisher on Netflix. He has he had a tweet where someone had said, I'll read the original tweet. It's based around a painting the person did, and then his reply. The original person on Twitter, it's KZ, the writer, says, I'm a Punisher fan. No matter how many nut jobs steal his logo, I'll still be a Punisher fan. They don't understand what it truly symbolizes. If they did, they wouldn't wear it, and I'm not going to let them take it from me. And there was some talk that people feel Marvel should drop the Punisher as a character because of the way his symbol is used by these militant groups and terrorists. And John Bernthal said, I'm with you. Beautiful work. These people are misguided, lost, and afraid. They have nothing to do with what Frank stands for or is about big love. Obviously, any rational person would know that Punisher would kill every single one of these people in the blink of an eye. They're all criminals and terrorists. So, obviously, they are the villains that the Punisher would go after.
Yeah,
they are responsible for the needless death of people that the Punisher would punish them for their actions.
Well, so Garth Ennis's comments on the Punisher symbol. That I saw some. I can't remember where I saw him, but I got a quote here. And it basically says, "No one actually wants to be the Punisher. Nobody wants to pull the 3 tours of duty in a combat zone, with the last one going catastrophically wrong, come home with a head full of broken glass, see their family's machine gun down in a bloody awful in front of their eyes, and then dedicate the rest of their lives to cold, bleak, heartless slaughter." Is that what you want?
Well, I mean, they think, oh, I'm a badass, like the Punisher, but they'd piss their pants for a sign of anything that character has been through.
Yeah.
The other comment, obviously a little bit more clear cut, was from Neal Kirby, which is the son of Jack Kirby. And I'm not going to read the whole thing. It's a pretty lengthy comment. Actually, you know what? Fuck it. I'm going to read this. It's long, but it's worth reading.
We can do it, baby. 2-man.
I mean, if you know anything about Jack Kirby, he fought the Nazis in World War II. Do you think for a second he would be supporting?
I'm ready.
People?
Let's go. Give it to us.
This comes from his Jack Kirby's son. It says, my father, Jack Kirby, along with his partner Joe Simon, created Captain America in 1941. Perhaps the most iconic symbol of patriotism since the spirit of 1776. Captain America has stood for a symbol and protector of our democracy and the rule of law for the past 79 years. He was created by two Jewish guys from New York who hated Nazis and hated bullies. Captain America stood up for the underdog, and as the story was written, even before he gained his strength and prowess from army scientists, always stood for what was righteous and never backed down.
I could do this all day.
At 72, I have a fairly vivid personal memory of every political and cultural upheaval since Castro's revolution in the mid-50s. Added to my father's stories, I could probably paint a picture of the battlefields of northern France surrounded by the city of Metz in World War II as well. However, the events that transpired at our nation's capital on January 6th, an insurrection inspired and fomented by our own president, will be the event that haunts me forever. While watching one of the horrific videos of the storming over the Capitol, I thought I noticed someone in a Trump/Captain America t-shirt, like a mashup t-shirt.
Yeah, like the Trump Rambo flags.
Yeah. I was appalled and mortified. I believe I even caught a quick glance of someone with a Captain America shield. A quick Google search turned up Trump as Captain America on t-shirts, posters, and even a flag. These images are disgusting and disgraceful. Captain America is the absolute antithesis of Donald Trump. Where Captain America is selfless, Trump is self-serving. Where Captain America fights for our country and democracy, Trump fights for personal power and autocracy. Where Captain America stands with the common man, Trump stands with the powerful and privileged. Where Captain America is courageous, Trump is a coward. Captain America and Trump couldn't be more different. My father, Jack Kirby, and Joe Simon, the creators of Captain America and World War II veterans, would be absolutely sickened by these images. These images are an insult to both their memories. If Donald Trump had the qualities and character of Captain America, the White House would be a shining symbol of truth and integrity, not a festering cesspool of lies and hypocrisy. Several of our presidents held the same value as Captain America. Donald Trump is not one of them. So, yeah, great comments by Neal Kirby. And, I'm sure one shared by hopefully everyone listening to this podcast right now. So yeah, it's.
This was put out by Jake Tapper on Twitter, right? Like,
it's spread from a few different places, but yeah, that was he kind of had the biggest tweet breaking down the comments. So it's insanity that these people would. And God, anyone that follows me on Twitter has seen me make this comment. Like, I want nothing more than to be completely bored and not comment on politics for like weeks at a time. So let this be a hopeful ending of regular political comments on this podcast. However, especially when you see, did you see like when they were clearing out the White House? Trump had a custom Thor hammer that said Trump on it.
No.
Like, whoever holds this hammer
is worthy of what?
The power of Thor. It says Trump on it, right? And you're just like, fuck, dude. And who even knows? Who knows who made that or where it came from? Someone probably gave it to him, blah, blah, blah. But like, Jesus Christ, I'm so glad this is over. And again, these people are not Punisher, but holy shit, are they not Captain America either? Yeah.
Well, the funny thing is like I saw some of the stuff, like the lady that was carrying the "Don't Tread on Me" flag, and then she gets trampled to death. Right, like people announcing their name on videos of them in the middle of storming the cap, like.
Yeah, they've arrested like 120 people, I think, already. So, yeah, it's just lunacy. People do not understand these characters. I think some people don't understand these characters. There was actually a really funny moment. Dr. Anthony Fauci was on the press briefing today. It was their second day of press briefing. And
wait, are they normal press briefings?
It's totally normal, and it's really funny. Yeah, it's every tweet is like, I can't believe how normal and regular this is. But he kept saying because there's these different strains of
the COVID virus has been mutating.
Overseas
and any virus does.
Yeah, and like real early on, he's like, we got these mutants over in the UK and in Asia, and I'm just like. Half of my followers, half of my Twitter feed was like, says mutants. Like we know what he's talking about, but it really sounds like he's just like really mad that these mutants. He's going all like Senator Kelly on him because he starts sending out the Sentinels to kill the mutants.
Maybe he's auditioning for the part when Disney finally brings mutants back. He wants to be Senator Kelly.
Yeah. It was very funny, but like, so okay, that's comic books and politics merging in a way that I'm okay with. So if you're gonna commit treason against the United States, try not to wear a Captain America t-shirt when you're doing it, because
I just want to see if Disney sues, if they're just defamation suits, like just.
So let's go to something that's not controversial or isn't has no.
Why do I get the distinct feeling you're lying to me?
With hate groups, or has no crazy fans, just normal everyday.
You are so
regular news. Let's talk about Zack Snyder's Justice League movie.
Wait, movie?
Yeah.
Oh, Jesus.
So despite previous talk at DC Fandom, Justice League will not be released as 4 1-hour episodes. The Zack Snyder cut of Justice League. It will in fact be a full movie. It is going to be a 4-hour-long movie.
Get your catheters ready.
So maybe there'll be a little, I guess it's all streaming, so they don't need an intermission, but maybe there'll be some sort of intermission or something like that. I don't know. That's a long movie. He says is 99.5% done, and the full trailer and release date will be soon. So they said March. It's March. We're at the end of April or at the end of January already. So March is right around the corner.
Warner Brothers has already stated that the next year is just going to be them dropping movies streaming and in theaters. They're just.
Yeah, and they moved up Godzilla vs. King Kong to March as well. So we're getting both of those in March. It's fucking amazing.
Because aren't we getting Dune in May?
I don't remember when they moved Dune to, but it's this year still.
Yeah.
I actually don't have it on the topic list here because it came out today. There's nothing confirmed, but there's more reports that they may push Black Widow back again. No surprise.
I saw that. I was like,
no surprise at all. It was either that or it's going to be on Disney Plus. It's one of the two. It's not coming out theatrical only. Not in May. Justice League 99.5% done, and so that's it's happening. It's real. It's going to be here very, very soon. Very, very soon.
Yay!
Kind of like I want a little story here. Then we're going to do some questions, and then we'll talk WandaVision. I thought this was really interesting, and part of it makes sense, but They usually don't have charts for streaming content, but Nielsen actually released for 2020.
Oh wow!
So the Nielsen company released ratings for streaming content for the full year, right? So it's a full year. So it's different than like the one-off episode, per week. And they have their own internal numbers, obviously, and Disney Plus and HBO Max, they'll talk about this stuff, and Netflix will talk about this stuff when they want to. But for the top 10 streaming shows, there is 2 comic book shows on here. And I was very, very surprised by one of them. But it makes a little bit of sense when you read some of the reasoning. So there's shows on a lot of these shows are big hits, obviously. Longmire. There's a Boss Baby cartoon on Netflix, apparently, that I've never even heard of.
The thing is, like, Longmire's done.
Yeah.
But that show is amazing.
Very popular show. Great British baking show. All my friends watch it. Leanne watches it all the time. Very, 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 very good show. Especially COVID era. It's a very chill, relaxed show. Yeah. Mandalorian, obviously, on here with only So a lot of this is based on number of episodes because obviously the and I should say I'm sorry. These are original to streaming series.
Yes.
This isn't like The Office and Friends and stuff like that, which are not original to streaming. And stuff like Great British Baking Show was in overseas, but this is just here. Tiger King, The Crown, obviously Crown's a big hit. I was actually a little surprised by number one because we just started watching it. I knew it was popular, but I didn't realize it was this popular. Number one by a huge margin is Ozark.
Oh my God, Ozark is amazing.
Yeah, we're only like 6 or 7 episodes in, but yeah, it's really good.
I have not watched that one at all.
It's Charlie.
Hello.
A wild Charlie appears. Charlie just dropped in.
Yep.
Look at that.
How's it going, Charlie?
Yep. Pretty good.
And Charlie. Okay.
If you haven't looked at the list, I think Brock has, but if you haven't, Charlie, would you like to guess what 2 original, and this is kind of a asterisk on one of these, but what 2 original series streamed the most on 2020? The 2 comic book shows.
Oh, 2 comic book shows.
And original.
So the top 10. The top 10. Yeah. That's the problem. One of them is an asterisk. So there's 2 comic book shows that are in the top 10 for most streamed shows of 2020 that are original content, not like Smallville wouldn't count, right? Because it's not on.
No, but would like Watchmen count?
No.
I'm curious.
No,
Okay.
because that wouldn't count because I was
okay.
on
So
HBO.
So it has to be okay.
This is just Netflix, Amazon Prime, Disney Plus, and Hulu.
I believe it's just the main ones. Yeah.
Trying to think of what. I mean, there's The Boys. I would assume The Boys is on there.
It is not. I actually thought it might be, but it's not. I'm
just trying to think of what other comic book.
Well, so they're both Netflix. One member of this podcast is not currently here. Is a humongous fan of one of these shows.
Oh, Umbrella Academy.
Umbrella Academy is number 6. Yeah.
Nice.
The number 2 show is a comic book show. Now, this one does come up with a little bit of an asterisk because it's not originally on Netflix.
But it is an original show.
But it is now a Netflix exclusive show.
It's one that Ryan just loves.
And I'm a fan. And I think other people are too.
So you're talking Lucifer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I never in a million years would have guessed Lucifer would have been like the number 2. I mean, it makes sense because of the number of episodes, right? I mean,
yeah, but
Tiger
it also
is up here.
Kind of makes sense because, like, in a weird way, they greenlit a final season and then went, how about one more season? So I would assume the numbers were really good.
Yeah. So it is, like I said, it's kind of a bit of an asterisk. This is minutes streamed.
To the nearest million.
So these are people that have watched these. Obviously, Tiger King with only 8 episodes. That means a significant more number of people watched that because it only had 8 episodes. Mandalorian is only 16 episodes. Lucifer was 75. So it only had to stream, a tenth of the amount of people that watched Tiger King could have watched Lucifer. And it streamed the same amount because it has 10 times as many episodes, right? So, but when you're looking at just the raw numbers, now of course,
yeah, because Boys only had 16 episodes
between the 2 seasons.
So
yeah,
so that's probably and it's also one of those things where I've talked to a lot of people who are like, they're like, oh, I haven't watched The Boys yet. I'm kind of waiting for more content because I think everybody now is like, if it doesn't have 3 seasons, I don't bother with it yet. Like,
you don't even want to start it.
Yeah.
And to give you a someone else has joined the podcast too. Look at this. It's also lay people. Frozen 2, the movie, has roughly the same amount of streaming minutes as 75 episodes of Lucifer. So again, you got to take some of this into context. But for original television content, Lucifer being the number 2 show of the year, because clearly the most streamed, almost all the non-original content, almost all of these have more minutes streamed than these shows, Ozark and Lucifer and the Crown and Tiger King aside. But it's The Office, Grey's Anatomy, Criminal Minds, and CIS. Schitt's Creek is on here with only 70 episodes. It shows you how many people watch that. Because everything else is on here: Supernatural, Shameless, New Girl, Blacklist, Vampire Diaries. These are all shows in the 200 to 300 episode range. High 100s, 200 to 300 episodes. So clearly, yeah, I mean.
But, I mean, stuff like Supernatural has been on there a very long time.
And it's still the number 6 stream show of 2020. So, you don't have to have that many people watching it to just get that high in the charts. So no other real comic book stuff on here, but good to see, sideways related, good to see Mandalorian on here with so few episodes. And Tiger King was this weird, like, just perfect show, flash in the pan show, but right when COVID hit, so it was literally the only thing everyone watched for weeks. Good on Umbrella Academy. That's good for a third season, I think, and really good on Lucifer. So it does not surprise me that they want to pull a third season for that.
Yeah, I watched the early episodes of Lucifer. I liked it. I just never continued.
The Netflix seasons have been really good. It's the same idea. It's just they up the production level a bit. It gets a little bit sexier. The story's a little bit better. They don't drop the kind of one-off murder of the week. It's still a part of it, but it's less of a part of it. They push the more kind of weekly, the more kind of
overarching
full story. A little bit more.
So how are you? Are you hooked on Ozark?
Oh yeah, it's really good. Yeah, we're almost done with the first season. Yeah, Ozark's fantastic. I mean, I heard it's great. We just hadn't seen it yet. So
I can tell you exactly when the show hooked me. First episode, when Jason Bateman's character is at the bank, and he's got those suitcases, and one of them is the pink one from his daughter, and he's just like, if I want to bathe in the money and blah 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 blah, that's what I'm going to do. And I'm like, that whole monologue was amazing. I was like, yep, I'm sold.
That's good. It's a good episode. Is that Toby that joined us?
Probably.
No, it's Kevin.
Oh, Toby's in the house.
And Toby.
We're going to do a couple questions, and we're going to talk. WandaVision in the after bit. So if people don't want to be spoiled, they can skip it. So we'll do these questions. We had a couple backed up on Patreon, so we'll get to these real quick. Got a couple from David Baroldi. What's a comic cover from your formative years, so early comic reading years, that stuck with you? He said, for me, it's definitely the Batman in the Morgue cover from Batman 434. And I believe it's the...
Yeah, Jim Gordon's on that. It's got a bunch of Batman.
I think... the Burnham Paro. That's the many deaths of Batman cover. Yeah, I remember that one. Formative covers that stuck with you. Good question.
Well, for me, it's always been the Batman and the Outsiders #1 cover. Yeah. Where Batman's basically just telling everybody off.
He's like, F off, I've got my own team.
Basically, yeah. Honestly, hold on, I'll have to find it. Give me a second.
There was I'll have to look up what issue number it was. There was a Kelly Jones drawn, I can't remember if it was Batman or Detective. Must have been Detective, I think. He's perched on top of this steeple, like a church, like the top of a church or something like that.
Detective.
And it is like the most Kelly Jones of Kelly Jones Batman capes. If you've seen these covers, the cape wraps once, twice, three. It's like Spawn. It almost looks like it wraps around the steeple 3 times. It's immense, and for some reason that cover always stuck with me, because I was like, this cape is just crazy. It's so crazy. Let me see if I can pull it up.
I think it's Detective.
Here. Yeah, here it is. I do have it here. Yeah, it's Batman. No, it's Batman 506.
Okay.
Sorry, it's not a steeple. It's a chimney. It's a chimney. And his cape is to him, and then wraps around the chimney twice. It's something. It's part of Night Quest. That's what that was. Yeah. I remember this cover now. Something about that cover. I always loved the Kelly Jones capes. It's absolutely ridiculous, but it that I always think of that cover. It really does stick with me because I thought it was it's just a neat. It really kind of breaks the reality of Batman, but that's fine. That's fine.
Yeah, I always. This is probably one of my earliest comics that I remember getting, but I just love the cover. And I think I still have a copy of it. I don't know. I'll put a link in there for you guys. But it's Iron Man 206. Mm-hmm. He's in the red and white costume, and he's flying towards the what you're viewing, and in the background is Hawkeye and Mockingbird up against Goliath.
Okay. Yeah.
So I always liked that cover.
Yeah.
I don't know. Most of the covers that I think about are there's certain covers that struck me just like random issue of Daredevil this or Cap Wolf or that kind of stuff. But when I think covers that really, really kind of meant something to me, it's typically the stuff that I had issue, I want to say 40 through 49 of Flash and 50 sold out, and it took me forever to find a place that had a copy of 50. So that cover for the issue 50 with all the flames around the Flash and stuff with the Flash is dead, long live the Flash. That one stuck with me. Some of the Executioner song, again, because a lot of this stuff was at a time where I was sort of very sporadic collecting, so I didn't have a comic shop schedule. So I would end up with I bought issues 1, 2, 4, and 7 of Executioner song at a random Walmart, and then had to go find the rest and stuff like that. And whenever I would get into those kind of quests, it was always the most random thing, and it would always be oh yeah, I filled in all this stuff, but there's still this one missing that would kill me for a while till I finally would track down a shop. Or the Flash 50 cover always was the most random, annoying thing because I could not find a comic shop with it. I was going crazy. I had called a bunch of shops. I'm fuck, I can't find this cover. And then I happened to be in a Fry's Electronics, and in their magazine section, they had a Flash 50.
What the heck? How random.
Random that you were in a Fry's with comic books. Whoa.
Yeah, that's weird.
Yep. So, as I said, for me, a lot of the ones that I think really stuck with me are just the ones that I associate with this was hard to get.
Yeah. Well, that's why it stuck with you, because you remember it.
Yeah.
A lot of my early ones were actually Lucky Luke covers because, in ways, the cover itself made me want to check out the comic book. So there was Daisy Town, a lot of Western. I mean, it's a Western comic, right? So they had some really, really cool covers. But if we're talking about superheroes, I mean, they stick out just because they were the first ones I bought for myself. So it'd be Amazing Spider-Man 331 with Punisher on the cover. And I think that has a special place because I think a couple months later I also bought the Game Boy game, which was the Punisher, but the hat featured Spider-Man. So I connected Punisher and Spider-Man together because of that. Which is a Eric Larson cover, which I always, I dug.
Oh, yeah. I know that cover. Yeah.
It might be because it was just my that specific issue was my first self-bought comic book. German one. I think the self-bought American one was Darkhawk #2 or some shit. The first self-bought Captain America little digest trade I had was 351, which was part of the Grunwald one with Nick Fury on it. So I kind of always dug the covers that had a secondary hero with them on the cover that features them because I grew up with Batman Brave and the Bold without actually realizing that that's what it was because it was just a Batman comic featuring those reprinted books in it. So I always kind of dug the secondary feature, Captain America and Nick Fury or in Spider-Man, Spider-Man with Punisher and had the little logo on the side and stuff. So I always dug that stuff. Also with the Captain America one, it had. For a while there, you know how Marvel had the anniversary covers? I don't know what they called it, but all the superheroes were around.
Yeah, with the face.
Yeah, well, a little torso. Right?
Yeah, in the middle.
So,
Yeah, torso. Yeah.
So that Captain America had that around it, so it made it like extra special because I thought for some reason this is a really, really special book because all the heroes are on the damn cover, so it has to be special. In the American one, it didn't have that, but in the version I got, it did. So, yeah.
Cool. He's got another question.
I think it'd be Peter Parker Spectacular Spider-Man number 90, though.
What's that?
For Toby, the Black Cat cover with Spider-Man.
No, I didn't own any Black Cat.
Oh, at that time? Oh, okay.
Covers. No, but she was in that. She was in that Punisher Derek Larson one. She was fully featured in that book. Mm-hmm. So I kind of started my love for Black Cat, and same for Grunwald with Diamondback in the Cap book. But no, I mean, you got to remember my books were all reprinted in German, and they would collect a few issues into one book. So the covers don't really match directly with what's inside too sometimes. So it's slightly different.
Another question here from David. He says, "What are the best arcs of Justice League, Avengers, and X-Men? And why is it Tower of Babel?" Okay, so this is your Justice League arc. Avengers Forever. That's late 90s, early 2000s. Yeah, Kirby's like run. And God Loves Man Kills, classic Chris Claremont. Are those the best Justice League, Avengers, and X-Men stories ever? Agree or disagree? I'll disagree with some of them, at least. I like Tower of Babel, but man, best Justice League story? Tower of Babel?
You go for Rock of Ages.
I mean,
I will go with Tower of Babel just because of Ra's al Ghul. Like,
yeah,
I like the way that story plays out. I like the way that it highlights sort of Batman's plans, and that was good. I would put that on a very short list of my top JLA stories, so I don't have a problem with it being the top. X-Men, though, I would not go with the God Love Man Kills, but that's just because it does not have enough cable. If I'm going to choose my favorite X-Men story or whatnot, it's going to be Executioner's Song, or it's going to be Executioner's Song, but it's definitely going to have cable and that side of it in it as well.
Yeah, I mean, I think obviously your answer is going to skew a little, 90s and up on some of these. I'm a big fan of the Giffen DeMatteis Justice League JLI stuff, but those are less.
They're not very Justice League they're not Justice League of America. It's more Justice League Well, I mean, it was for a minute, but it became more Justice League International.
Justice League. That's all that matters. The book is called Justice League. But, older comics tend to have less those big story arcs, right? I mean, they tend, your favorite story could be a one-off issue, right? I mean, that's not against the rules, or there are no rules here, just whatever you like. But, when I think of these bigger arcs, I'm thinking more, 80s, 90s, modern. Rock of Ages probably would be my favorite. I mean, that Morrison's run of Justice League is just God tier, and that's some of this. Although I have said this in the past, I some of my favorite issues of that run are actually the issues that he didn't do. That 2-part Mark Waid, Adam Strange story. I really really liked. The Sandman one. It was really good. I mean, he did that one, but there's a lot of really good runs in there. Avengers, man, again, single story, tough. There's good arcs, but
I think Avengers Forever. New Avengers run. When he started New Avengers, that was really good.
Yeah. Avengers Forever is really good, though. It's kind of like accumulation. Oh, man. God. Just because of what it is, I might want to say JLA Avengers. I did. It as a story, maybe not great, but as just like a... It's just like a canvas of every character. It's good, but Avengers Forever is really good because it does dip into every kind of Avengers era, and I do love Kirby Six. Is that Carlos Pacheco did the art on that?
I think so. Yeah,
I think sounds right. X-Men.
I really like Brubaker's Rise of the Sheer Empire.
Yeah, it was all right. It was okay.
Not enough cable.
again,
so how do you? So the Messiah War, the Messiah complex, this Second Coming is all what you love, Charlie.
I do absolutely love that grouping of books. Yes, I do.
Because you can include an entire Cable series in that too.
Yes.
You know, I hate to be so just on the nose here, because come on, this is what's going to happen. But it's rioting. It's riot at Xavier's, and it's the first one that came to my mind. It's the introduction of Quinnfire. It's that second arc, Grant Morrison, or the second year of Grant Morrison. Frank Quietly, I think, did every issue. Maybe he didn't do one because he was kind of bouncing back and forth. But it's, God, again, Morrison's run of X-Men just unmatched.
It's just
nothing comes close.
Morrison writing asshole teenage characters.
I love it.
You love Morrison's asshole teenage characters.
I had a conversation about this with someone earlier. I think it was Marshall. It was my dad's store, and he asked me like, he's like, oh, you love Quinnfire. Did you read blah blah with like Kid Omega? And I'm like, see, here's the thing. Here's a great thing, right? Great thing about Quinnfire. The character Quinnfire stops to exist at the end of Morrison's run. They introduce this new character named Kid Omega later, and so like I could just pretend it's a completely different character. I had no interest in Kid Omega. Quinnfire, like Morrison, beautiful. Love that run. Love that character. Great character. Whoever this guy is now with the purple hair, he's a moron. Morrison's Quinnfire, that's what I'm talking about.
Oh, it's just b-ball and penance.
No idea what you're talking about. And then, it's disappointing. I mean, I'm sure we've talked about this in the past, but what Warren Ellis did with Penance in Thunderbolts is actually not bad. It was a good arc. It's just not Speedball. It's just not the character. So, like, to me, it's like, this other character.
It's Speedball Breaking Bad.
Sure. It's like Zorn's brother Zorn. Zorn's brother, who's really Zorn, the real Zorn, not Magneto Zorn. It's like, it's this other fucking dumbass character. Nobody gives a crap about Zorn.
No, it's Kid Cable.
Yeah, sure.
Just ignore Kid Cable, and you can love Cable. If you include Kid Cable, then everything goes off the rails.
Toby, you got a favorite?
What? Sorry, what are we talking about?
Is Tower of Babel the best Justice League story ever? And if not, do you have a better one? Is God Loves Man Kills the best X-Men story ever? And if not, do you have another one? Is Avengers Forever the best Avengers story? And if not, do you have another one?
Avengers Forever, I'll say no. The other two are kind of hard to beat. I'll leave it at that.
Okay.
I have to do too much digging in my brain to do a counterpoint, so I'll just leave it.
That's all right.
Avengers is an odd one for me, just because I honestly may just not love the Avengers. Is kind of what it comes down to, because like I love the JLA Avengers book. I like a lot of Avengers story. I enjoy Avengers stories.
Mm-hmm.
But like I'm sitting here racking my brain, like, is there anyone that like I loved as much as I love like Tower of Babel or X-Men or like, and nothing like really jumps to my mind like that's the one that got me invested at that same level. I don't think I've ever been invested at that level.
Well, you've had a lot. I think a lot of these books will have, especially in the modern day, bigger events or miniseries that are sort of taken out of the main book. Avengers really has kind of just been bigger arcs that have continued ongoing kind of forever. You have story arcs, obviously, but less in the main title. X-Men have obviously had some, but like Batman, I think DC has done more of them. Justice League was sort of set up post Morrison as almost like an anthology where creators kind of came and went for some of the arcs. Mark Waid's arcs felt more set up as sort of standalone stories. I feel you get a little bit more of that. Kurt Busiek, we're talking about that for Avengers Forever. That was its own self-contained thing, whereas of his run of Avengers, Bendis's run of Avengers, his multiple runs of Avengers, Hickman's run of Avengers. They're these bigger, long, flowing stories. They're not this more cut and dry, self-contained arc. Usually. Yeah.
Now the question is, how much of that is still in print on Marvel's end?
All of it, as far as I know. God Loves Man Kills. They just had like a special edition.
They still have Avengers Forever in print?
I think so. I either feel like that was in print recently or it's coming back. Like they've come and gone. Some of those BSEC stuff is out of print, but I think it's coming back in print. There might be a version available right now. I feel like we've had it.
Because I sold so many sets of Avengers Forever from the store that I'm just I don't think we've ever had the.
Oh, we've definitely had the trade. A couple other questions here. Got one on Twitter from Blanderson Hooper. Blanderson, great name. He says, "Where do you think Tom King's run of Batman falls? But compared to others, I definitely prefer Snyder's New 52 to Tom King's run. Are there any truly memorable arcs in Tom King's run?" We've talked about Tom King's run of Batman pretty regularly. I think it's different than Snyder's run. I definitely enjoy it. Talk about a book that doesn't really have art. Neither of them. Well, I guess you could pull arcs out of Snyder's a little bit easier, especially the first one.
Yeah, well, you have Court of Owls, Night of Owls. You have.
I mean, it's Court of Owls is one. It's Night of Owls is part of Court of Owls.
Yeah. You have the death of the family.
Yeah. His is broken up a little bit more. Tom King's is kind of what we were just talking about, a little bit more longer arcs. There are arcs within it, but they're a little harder to pull out and read kind of individually.
Yeah, you can pull like a couple issues out of King's run at a time, or standalone issues like the Swamp Thing issue was amazing, all on its own.
Mm-hmm.
That one was great.
I think some of my favorite on the Tom King stuff is those standalone ones. Date Night.
The Date Night, the two-parter.
Issues. Yeah. I really like there's like one or two issues, the Batman, Catwoman, and Joker when they're in the church
before the wedding.
Yeah, that was fantastic.
Yeah.
I thought the Wonder Woman, Batman stuck battling.
Yep.
Issues were really good.
Yep.
Yeah, I think Tom King's is more because I've reread it. I think you see a lot more when you go back and reread it.
Yeah,
and
there's a lot of
how everything kind of intertwines a little bit, bit more. So,
but no, I mean,
they're both great. Like they're both great runs. They're just not.
Yeah, they're great in different ways. Yeah. We're all, I'd say, if not at most forgiving, or at the least forgiving at most, big fans of Tom King's run. I'm a huge fan of his run on Batman. I think it's widely under-regarded. People kind of missed the point of what he was trying to do. And, that's okay. Not everything has to be for you. Sometimes arcs just don't work.
Well, I mean, honestly, for me, I wasn't a huge fan of the tail end of the New 52. Batman with it was the machine Batman with Gordon in it and stuff.
Yeah. And again, Snyder, I'm sure, had nothing to do with that, really. He was forced to do this, I think. It doesn't feel like that was part of his run. It was fine. What's the flower guy? He was okay.
Colin or...
I can't remember the villain's name. It was fine, but Snyder was setting up a lot of the stuff with Metal, and there's a lot of setup for other stuff in there, which I'm okay with. All right, we are going to move over to talk about WandaVision. So if you have not watched it, you should. I don't know. I mean, I guess you could listen to this if you don't. I guess if you don't mind being spoiled, because we're going to fully spoil the first two episodes. Or, I should say spoil as much as we can. Look, I'm also going to be very, very honest about this stuff. When it comes to the movies, man, I don't go out of my way to watch a bunch of weird trailers. I definitely don't follow rumor sites. I don't look at cast lists. I don't like I'll look at like Easter egg lists for episodes that already aired, but like I'm sure there's 25 sites out there that are already like, because of this leaked footage from this international film toy show, we know the villain, blah, blah. Look, don't jump on my ass if I say something that's like, and this goes with the movies all the time. This goes with the TV shows. If it's like, oh, well, this thing has already been revealed. Look, we've only seen the 2. I'm basing everything off these 2 episodes. I'm not talking about anything else. That's just because it happens too often, especially with TV shows, where stuff gets revealed way far ahead of time because of they obviously film for a lot longer and they tend to be maybe a little less secretive than the movies.
Well, a lot of times you'll get hints with even the title of the episode or. Yeah,
and I mean, we know. I mean, I obviously know. Like, I know Monica Rambeau is in this. She's called something else, but I know she's supposed to be Monica Rambeau, right? Yeah. So there's bits like that are fine. Like, I obviously understand. But yeah, I tend to not look much past the episodes we've already seen. And Charlie and Toby, because you guys aren't right here for the beginning of this episode, generally what I tend to do is with these TV shows, we're not going to talk every episode every week unless something crazy happens. But we'll check in at least once more, then probably once more about the finale to kind of give some thoughts on the whole season. So, but for now, someone else take it for a minute. I'm going to grab some water. WandaVision, 2 episodes in. What do you guys think?
Oh, I enjoyed it probably more than I should have, but that's growing up in my house. It was all about like Nick at Night on the weekends. So I was watching a lot of the old TV shows that they were using as an inspiration for this. I kept having sort of the flashbacks to Bewitched and that kind of stuff. Mm-hmm. And it's one of those shows that I have assumptions of what's going on because of my comic book knowledge. And I'm curious to see how much it will line up to that.
Yeah.
That's, I think, one of the biggest concerns that people have a bunch of theories. And I'm like, I don't think a lot of this is going to pan out because, just because there's Bova the cow milk in the back of the animated sequence, you're not fucking getting Bova the cow in this. I'm sorry, guys. Like, it's just not happening.
No, but
so hold on, Charlie. Hold on. Enough. For listeners that don't know, Bova is the cow that raised Quicksilver and Scarlet Witch, correct?
Yeah, that's part of the high evolutionary. Don't write this in stone, but do you really think we're gonna get the high evolutionary in this television show? No, it's not high evolutionary in this show. Don't be ridiculous.
No, but like my stuff just kind of ties into the nature of Wanda's powers, and they've already shown her exert some level of control over this quote-unquote television world. So whether or not she's being manipulated in some ways that's taking control of her powers or whatnot, I do think this will... Like, they've already kind of acknowledged the power level of her powers with Infinity War and Endgame seem to sort of turn that stuff way up. Meaning, like, she was seen as one of those big guns to the point of like Thor level in those movies. So taking that extent of her powers and turning it up even a bit further for like they did in the comic books with sort of a little more reality tweaking and stuff would explain a lot of what's potentially going on in the show. I just don't think they're going to have her necessarily have had a... I guess here's where I'm kind of going with it. I'm not sure they're going to go with a psychotic break kind of thing. I'm kind of guessing somebody is responsible for channeling her powers or manipulating her mind or whatnot.
Yeah, and remember, Scarlet Witch is, I mean, absolutely no way, shape, or form anything like the comic book version. It's a completely different character, whether it's power set, whether it's origin, whether it's backstory, relationship. I mean, it's the connection to the comics is fucking the barest of bare minimums.
Oh yeah,
all the characters. She really, of that main Avengers team, she's really the most disconnected from the main from the comic versions, but also part of it's because she's a mutant. They're not going to get in the fucking high evolutionary, sure, okay. The neighbor, her name is Agatha. Do you think for 1 second that they're going to have Agatha Harkness in this as the comic book version? No.
I do.
Really?
They could.
Yeah.
No.
I do. That's the first thing I thought of her was that's probably Agnes.
Well, I mean, it is, but it's not.
Well, the thing is if you look at what happens,
the character name does not mean it's the character. They're just going to call it. She's just there. I mean, I'm sure she's going to do something, but she's not some fucking random witch lady hanging out with high evolutionary. Like, no.
I think that
probably that. I think it's going to be a version of it.
Well, and I guess this is where we don't know how many of the people in this town are real people that have been morphed by whatever's changing the reality in this town and whatnot.
0. I don't think a single thing is real.
And if all this is coming from Wanda's mind and dealing with grief and that kind of thing, she could absolutely be bringing in figures from her life to insert in roles, and like, rather than creating all these people out of thin air, like they can have this be sort of Agnes and stuff, but like not the real one that exists out there somewhere that she used as sort of inspiration for the person in her sitcom.
I really don't get that any of this is real. This isn't some like what's that show? What's that movie?
Pleasantville, Truman Show.
No. What's that movie where he's in like the fake world?
Cabin in the Woods.
He's in like what? No, he's in like that fake world. And everyone knows Truman Show. Yeah, thank you. No, I it definitely feels like this is all quote unquote in her head, right? I mean, you're getting these stuff is coming through, whether it's like the commercials, right? I mean, that's her mind. Like, okay, well, Stark and Strucker, and these are things that I am aware of, and how are these coming through? But yeah, I mean, she's being controlled in some fashion, but like, I don't think this isn't a real place she's in.
Well, so this is where I think it's a question of how far they take it with her powers or whatever's going on. Is the stuff that seems to be coming through, like the toy airplane kind of thing, the radio signal, the beehive guy out of like the sewers. Like I get the impression that this isn't like she's strapped in a machine and all this is happening in her mind. I get this as either her powers or the combination of her powers and something else is constructing this reality. So it's some place on Earth that is now this place kind of thing.
Yeah, because I mean, at the end of the first episode, you see the sword person monitoring it on the TV. Like they're watching it on the TV. So where is that coming from? Is it coming from like her being hooked up to the machine that you see what she sees inside her mind? Or is it something where it's more along the lines of you're seeing what cameras are seeing, or in a place like wait, what's the place that they had Maria Hill created?
Yeah, I don't know. Because again, we're going full spoilers here. They have those scenes at the end where there's like the crazy computer signal stuff coming through, and like I mean, maybe she's in like some weird padded room doing all this crap, but like, yeah, I'm just not reading this that this is like all quote unquote real. She's warping reality. She's doing all this stuff, and I mean, I think early on, one of my early things was like, oh yeah, she's in like the gem, right? She's in like the Infinity Gem. She's doing all this stuff to like, to like save Vision because it warped him. Like, I still think that's more possible. I just don't read at all that she's in an actual place doing this to actual things. I mean, obviously, I have no idea. So,
well, I mean, the outside characters like Agatha, right?
Mm-hmm.
Agatha and Hart and
I think
they push.
Is her name Agnes in the show?
I think it's So
I think it's Agnes in the show, but it's like Agatha Harkness, Agnes.
Yeah,
I think that's the connection people are making.
But I think that what the character those characters are moving Wanda towards something. So like the Agnes character. Oh, you're having a special date with your husband. Well, you should do this. Let me go get some information. And then it's like feeding her more information about like this and putting things in her head, like, you know, children and like the little nuggets that are dropped throughout.
We didn't even get to that part. Right. I mean, again, I don't think Scarlet Witch is going to have these kids and have it be a real thing. I mean, I regardless of what they could do regardless of what they did in the comics and what they could do in the show, I suppose, I don't think Disney's gonna let them magically abort some demon babies, some demon controlled babies. I just don't think that's gonna happen. We'll see.
I found it curious that in the scene where they're having dinner with the Hearts, and the Hearts are asking them about, well, where are you from? Where were you married? Blah, 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 like all these questions, and getting the answers are starting to become harder and hard. Like both Vision and Wanda freeze at it, and then the guy's choking. Like after he really kind of pushes Wanda.
Oh, we can talk about this scene a little bit later,
right? To me, there was even a disconnect in that is Vision even real, because she looks at him and says, "You save him."
Yeah.
Right. Whereas Vision would just do it. So is Vision even a part of?
I mean, it feels like she's trying to like get him. That's why I said I was like, this feels like it's supposed to be in like the gem, right, or in his head, in his mechanical brain, because she's trying to get him to come back, because she should just be a husk. I don't think there's anything left of him, right?
So, and I mean, to me, that's kind of the question. A lot of Vision's behavior and that kind of stuff, I don't feel like meshes with that character very well. Like a lot of the acknowledgement of him being mechanical, the swallowing the gum and acting like there's a lot of elements of that I'm not convinced that this is truly the Vision we've had in the past. And if they are doing something with some sort of reality warping kind of thing, this could be the idea of Vision, not the resurrection of Vision.
Yeah, she's like trying to like alter reality so he comes back, right?
Yeah.
And we really don't see, again, this version of Scarlet Witch in the show or in the movies does not really have those powers. This is the first we've seen of anything where she has these abilities, so it's a very different character.
But again, when you kind of compare it to the comic books, they didn't define her powers that way for most of the life of the character.
Yeah.
Well, meaning it's very within the source materials for her not even to understand the nature of her powers.
Right.
Yeah, and isn't it when she uses her powers in a very severe way? It's always she's under duress, or she's very emotionally like strained. Like when it was No More Mutants, it was because of her kids being gone, right?
Well, she does.
Well,
like freaks out. She loses her powers, like post House of M and all that. But at that point, she was being controlled. Like I forget what the guy's name was. But Toby, you're the West Coast Avenger, dude. What's his name?
The weird demon.
Yeah, I'm blanking on his name.
You gotta remember, I read that shit in German.
What's his name? He probably has a really cool name in German.
It probably sounds a lot more evil.
Yeah.
But yeah, like she, like, you know, it's that iconic moment when she says "No more mutants," and then we get that whole House of M reality, right?
Yeah.
But I think,
well, the No More Mutants was coming out of House of M.
Yeah.
Because I mean, the whole thing with the No More Mutants was the blaming her father and his crusade and everything with mutants for ruining her life at that point.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so that's what it was. Okay.
Yeah.
I guess we'll kind of take a break from the spoilers here just to talk about what we kind of thought. And Charlie, you said you liked it. To me, this
is it Master Pandemonium?
Pandemonium, that's what it is. Yeah. I definitely had some high expectations. The trailers looked really neat, but I wasn't sure what they were going to do with it, and I was fucking blown away. Obviously, you still got 7 episodes, and by the time this episode goes up, the 3rd episode will be airing or just about there. Probably the craziest thing to me is, critically huge success. Reviews are great. I'm actually not too surprised, really, and now that I think about it, that the fan reviews are more mixed than I would have expected. Seeing a decent amount of hate for it online, and that's, it's disappointing because I think people are maybe.
I'm curious. In terms of the reviews you've been reading online and stuff, do you feel like it's an age range that's kind of because, as I said, a lot of the reviews
I asked that very same question. Most of the responses I got on Twitter, it was maybe 75% of people were like, yes, I've seen older black and white sitcoms and I also enjoyed it. There were a couple people that were like, yes, I've seen these and I hated the show. But mostly I felt like the responses to the tweet I made were more in line with what I... It was kind of a mix, but I think a lot of people, it was a little bit more generational, but not like not 100%. But just if you go like on any of the face or any of the social media feeds for whenever they post about WandaVision and you read some of the replies, a lot of it is just like, it's boring, it's stupid, it's dumb. I didn't come here to watch a 50s sitcom. What is this? And I think to me, it's like, dude, you've got multiple movies where these characters are just kicking ass for 2 hours at a time. Like, Toby, I'm not gonna put you on the spot too much here, but this was again a little bit of my problem with Daredevil, right? We only have the show, and I feel like those Netflix shows just take fucking forever to do anything. Now, if we had multiple Daredevil movies where Daredevil was kicking ass, and then you get a show that's a little bit more introspective and slower, then I'd be totally fine with it. But this is we've had multiple movies where these characters have done a ton of action, so having this more.
I'll disagree with you on that one.
Okay.
While I agree, the Netflix shows had its dull periods and filler episodes, which I dislike myself, that they just kind of, filled with dialogue, which I don't disagree with. I mean, I agree on that part, right? But I think the product should be the best it can be, which I don't mind if it's something different, or they try something different, right? So I don't mind that. But I do feel like watching the first 2 episodes together, I felt like that should have been 1 episode, and I think it could have gone a lot faster. And that's just my humble opinion.
I absolutely think if they only aired the first episode, the fan review would have been a lot worse.
Yeah, it would be in deep shit. But look, to me, I'm actually a big Bewitched fan. Which may be weird, but like I remember being like up in the cabin in Colorado, and Bewitched was the only thing that was being shown, and I think
sorry, did you say Bewitched? I thought you said The Witch. Bewitched. Yeah, and I think Dream of Genie. So I watched quite a few of those, and I quite enjoyed them actually when I was younger. I mean, that's like all Nick and Night stuff for our generation, right? I mean, that's what we grew up on. We grew up in the reruns.
It might be just the Nick and Night channel was the only thing available to be watched.
It's very popular. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
And I actually had them in German as well, so I actually enjoyed those shows. But I'm in the different camp where I wish those 2 episodes were 1 and maybe like 15 minutes less. It's hard to say now, right? I mean, this this might be a complete setup where everything comes around and everything matters. At that point, then sure, hats off. That's awesome. But for me, the show didn't really get interesting till the very last couple minutes of the second episode. Like, I was watching it, sure, I was chuckling, and it was cute, but I can't deny I was somewhat bored, but I'm also a guy that understands too, like, some stories need some investing in, and the payoff is going to be great. But I have to say I was like, look, applaud him for trying something different, and I think it's cool, and who knows, it may be really going to pay off. But right now, I'm like, hey, pick it up a little bit, please.
Well, it's very interesting timing because it's anyone listening and especially following me on social media, I'm a big David Lynch fan, and like Twin Peaks is one of my favorite shows. Actually, Twin Peaks is my favorite show of all time. I had just watched with Leanne. We had just watched Eraserhead, which is his first movie, just like a night or two prior to watching this. And while you could not have really two more different types of shows or movies, that scene that Brock you were talking about earlier when they're having that dinner, the tenseness of that scene, this is what I was waiting for 20 minutes. And I think the scene doesn't work unless you have the setup of it's odd, it's funny, it's quirky, it's normal. We don't really know what's going on, but we're going to get there. And then things get very fucking dark very quickly.
Yeah.
And David Lynch is a master of not only surrealism, but like absurdism and mixing that with very normal, down to earth, realistic characters. And so something like Eraserhead is tough for me because it's so weird. It's hard to watch. But when you have something like Twin Peaks, where it's pretty normal, and then you get these weird oddball parts, and then this real scary stuff, that works really well with me, and I felt a lot of that in here, and there were some similarities.
I mean, why like that, the Hug Me show so much?
Which one?
The Please Hug Me show.
Don't hug me, I'm scared.
Yeah, you're a fucking freak, Ryan. Sorry.
It's one of the most terrifying things I've ever seen in my entire life, and it is because it looks fairly normal on the outside, and very quickly starts breaking down. And yeah, at the end, that there's a scene there's a scene very early in Eraserhead where they're all sitting at a table having dinner, and I mean it's clearly not normal, but there's some really kind of creepy shots where things get sort of they break very quickly around these characters, and that scene really reminded me of that scene from Eraserhead. So when he falls down, and the wife is like, it's she's laughing, it's funny, it's repetition. She's like stuck. She's like repeating the same thing over and over and over again. And one character sort of like, wait, things are breaking here. I could tell reality's busted. Again, it's not. I'm not gonna say it's on the same level as something like Eraserhead or even Twin Peaks, but it must have been influenced by that, especially being all in black and white like Eraserhead, because it has a very similar feel. And that is I love that, where you think things are kind of normal, something is going to go bad, and you're just kind of waiting for it. And when it happens, it's like, yeah, okay, now things are getting fucked up. I don't mind if it's messed up entirely for the whole time, but
well, it's
the seeming normal, and then things start to crack, it's a very cool technique.
That's the thing with the show.
Very unnerving.
I think that yes, they needed to do at least bare minimum the 2-episode drop. I think maybe depending on seeing the next episode, they should have done 3.
But I mean, at that point, it's a third of the show. Like at that point, just release it.
But it's one of those things where, like you said, in the first episode, we have this Leave It to Beaver, Dick Van Dyke, like family kind of aspect show. And it's got its moments of humor. We've all of us have been raised on those reruns and stuff like that. We might not have watched every single episode, but we get the gist of what they were. And it's one of those things where
because the first episode was Dick Van Dyke Show. The second episode was Bewitched. I mean, that's
those are the main ones. They had influences from the
there were, but that's what
Yeah.
those episodes.
Yeah.
But again, you have everything that's falling apart, like it's the situational comedy, right? It's the misunderstanding. Like all of that stuff is ingrained in the sitcom, right? And then, like you said, at the end, all of a sudden you start asking questions, right? Sitcom characters never really had in backstories. They were just like, boom, you're there, right?
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
And so when they start asking those questions, if you look at it, that's part of the reason why it breaks down. It breaks down in that those sitcoms didn't have deep backstories. And then, but this reality that we're in doesn't have a big backstory either. So that's where you kind of get that glitch. And then with the Bewitched episode, which I really enjoyed the fact that they used Bewitched because Bewitched started out as a black and white show and ended as a color show. It transitioned in the middle of it from black and white to color, which I thought was amazing that they kind of nodded to that in that kind of the color palette moving across and everything become colorized at the end. But yeah, I think that it's kind of like that scene kind of jarred the reality. But if you look at how we moved from the first episode to the second episode, it was kind of a natural flow with, oh, look, they're in bed, right? They're most likely in bed upstairs. Oh, wait, we come downstairs. It's different. Why is it different? Right? I think it's because we're building more and more with each episode from what Wanda is most likely manipulating. Right? Like her mind is slowly adding more and more things.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, I have no idea. I mean, it could have been that, is she manipulating, changing the stuff because this was sort of like, she grew up on these shows, or is this someone else is doing this to her? I mean, that type of stuff we just don't know. But Toby, I mean, I don't think these things would have hit quite as hard had it rushed. You don't get to the weird stuff without it seeming normal first. I mean, I think it was smart to release the 2 episodes together. But I think had they pushed them together, you're like, okay, well, it would have been too quick, I think. And I don't think we really get any sort of real answer till the very end. I mean, I don't think like we're going to know next week, who the big bad is. I mean, that's sort of the point of the show, right? I mean, it doesn't make a lot of sense. It's only 9 episodes. It doesn't make a lot of sense to get to answers quicker.
So I don't think we're necessarily going to get to what's fully going on till the end of the show, but I do think we're going to get a sense of what's happening outside of the show before the end of the show.
We might, yeah. I know some of the people. I could not tell who it was on the radio. It's apparently Jimmy Woo, who was an Ant-Man and Wasp, the Shield agent, the Asian guy,
the magician Asian guy. The magician Asian guy?
The magician?
Yeah, because he wanted to do tricks for his kid.
Oh, yeah, I think so, yeah.
He did the trailer, that makes sense.
What was that?
He was in the trailer.
Yeah, I mean, I could not make heads or tails of who it was. It didn't sound like... Just couldn't hear it, but that's what people said it is. So, okay, cool. I know there's a lot of talk of Sword being involved in this. So Sword is sort of the... Again, I assume Sword will be something completely different in the show, but in the comics, Sword is like the outer space shield. They could do something similar with Sword. In this,
well, I mean, if they...
Nick Fury, right? Kind of where they leave him. He could be. He'd be like, well, because Shield is gone, like dead and buried in the MCU. So Sword could be like the replacement that Nick Fury sets up.
Well, I mean that scene we had with Nick Fury at the end of whatever movie it was,
Far From Home,
where he's kicking back, and then he goes off, and then he's like in this alien ship thing that's flying, and all that. Like
the scroll ship.
That could be something that sets up that sword thing.
Yeah, I would guess. I mean, if I had to guess, I would think that sword will be kind of the big part of the Secret Invasion show. If it's going to be Nick Fury, and they're, I think that would make sense. I don't see them like. I mean, I guess they could in Captain Marvel too, like introduce sword as like a post Thanos.
Well,
a post Thanos space watch group for the whole. But I don't know. That feels like too big.
Captain Marvel has been the leader of sword.
Right. That's what I mean.
Right. Like,
they could make sword come from that. It could be.
And I mean, you could take Monica Rambeau as a tie-in to sword at some point potentially.
Yeah, and I would think all these characters will play a role if they're going to use sword going forward. I just think it's a weird place to be introduced in this because unless
we got the symbol like.
Well, this is post Endgame. Just timeline wise, this does take place currently in MCU time. This isn't like a flashback or anything like that. So, I think it would make sense to have. Yeah, sword could have come out during the 5-year blip and just not really been a part of Endgame, but it could be something that gets set up post Thanos. And yeah, we'll obviously find out more as it goes on. The question I want to know is, who's the beekeeper? Who's the beekeeper at the end? Is it Swarm, the Nazi made out of bees? That's who I want it to be. Is it more likely an AIM agent? Because AIM was, in this world, responsible for creation of her, the Scarlet Witch, right? I mean, it was Strucker in, what was it? Was that Age of Apocalypse?
Age of Ultron?
Yeah, but that was
Age of Ultron,
AIM. Wasn't AIM the Iron Man 3?
Yeah, AIM was also in Iron Man 3.
Like I said, we'll completely ignore anything that happened in Iron Man. It's not the real Mandarin. It's also not the real AIM, right?
I cannot wait for the response to that.
But that is, Strucker was part of AIM at the end of Age of Ultron, right? I mean, isn't that...
Well, no. At the beginning of Age of Ultron and everything...
they're taking down Hydra base.
That was like the last Hydra base. Yeah. That was supposed to be putting like an end to the remnants of Hydra from everything with like Winter Soldier and all that.
Yeah, I'm not talking about Hydra. I'm talking about AIM.
But the AIM was only brought up in Iron Man 3, I thought.
Yeah.
Because they're taking care in the beginning of Age of Ultron, they're taking care of those. Who
is with Scarlet Witch and Quicksilver at the end?
That's the remnants of Hydra, basically.
Yeah.
Was that not? Did they not call them AIM?
No, it was Hydra.
Am I getting my comics and my movies mixed up?
Yep.
Because AIM is part of Hydra. Is AIM not part? Are they not? Are they? Because I know they had the AIM stuff for that was Killian was work. Killian, that's the name. In Iron Man 3, this guy's name sounds right. Yes, this guy's name.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, it's the post-credit scene. Halfway through the credits is the Wolfgang von Strucker chatting with a couple of lackeys as they walk through a secret underground Hydra research base.
Okay.
It's not AIM.
Okay. It's
the winter. That's the end of Winter Soldier.
Right. But Hydra's gone. Okay. All right.
Not after. After Winter Soldier, they're destroyed, but they still have remnants, which is what we get. Which is what happens when we get Age of Ultron. They're still trying to get rid of the Hydra, like pockets that are still active.
Yeah, Hydra got exposed, but Hydra had also fully infiltrated S.H.I.E.L.D. and set up, like, the base they were raiding had various tech that Hydra stole from S.H.I.E.L.D. to do experiments with after the first Avengers movie, basically.
Right. So, but AIM is a part of Hydra in the comics, at least. It would reason to believe that they would, if Shield and Hydra are gone, then Sword and AIM are the replacements. I mean, that
I don't know. In Ant-Man, they still introduce some of the people as Hydra.
Yeah. To me, it's like, the Beekeeper suit, it could be something completely unrelated, but I would just assume that it's the.
My brain went there too.
Yeah.
I'm just saying that I think if so, this is the introduction of a more traditional AIM.
Yeah.
I don't think it's been introduced before, other than dropping the name in Iron Man 3.
I'm looking at an MCU fandom wiki, and it says AIM was likely disbanded once their connection to the terrorist plot was revealed, all the stuff from Iron Man 3. But of course, we don't know.
Who knows what the Mandarin do with AIM?
I just have to assume this is AIM, because she was... I would, again, assume that this is her brain filling in things, and the threat of Hydra agents, quote unquote, with the AIM outfits, whatever the hell you want to call them, right? I mean, she sees this threat come out of the sewer, and she's like, "Oh fuck, rewind time and get the hell out of here!" Right? So to me, like, I just like, okay, well, this is some sort of PTSD remembering of Hydra. I guess I'll just call him Hydra.
To me, that's just about protecting her reality anytime it seems that she's put into a position to start sort of facing reality, something helps sort of bring her back to the what I would call the fake reality, or whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
There's definitely a defense mechanism that will always have a character pop up or something else happen when she's faced with something that doesn't quite fit with the reality she's creating.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Well, because there's a sword logo on the back of the Beekeeper outfit.
Yeah, and that might just be she doesn't like any of this stuff, right? Shield, sword, AIM, Hydra. I don't trust any of these guys. I don't know. But I mean, you don't drop a Beekeeper outfit into something if you're not dealing with AIM. I mean, to me, that's just what it is. Maybe what it is.
Maybe it's a nod to Doom Patrol.
And it could be.
I'm just too busy. I love the fact that we've now reached the point in the discussion where the comic book knowledge is now informing this has to be this, because there's no other reason they would do this, because comic books.
No, but I mean, okay, look. For anyone that doesn't read the comics, the AIM, their lackeys, their cannon fodder all run around in these like yellow kind of hazmat suits, and they look like Beekeeper outfits and kind of hazmat / Beekeeper outfits, and people will call them like, oh, the Beekeepers. I mean, that's like they sort of like a joke, right? I again, this could just be a very generic, just a general threat, and we're not going to involve AIM in this. But I think with Agda Harkness and Bova and all that stuff, like they're not actually going to be the real characters. So I guess sure, but actually having that thing perceived as a threat to me is like, okay, well, AIM is going to be, so in the comics, Strucker founds AIM, right? So that's why I'm like, oh, okay, the whole Strucker Watch advertisement, the Beekeeper outfit, maybe he comes back and he reforms AIM, maybe because he left Hydra, because Hydra got taken over, and so who knows? But yeah, AIM was the only thing that came to my mind, other than Swarm. So yeah, there you go. Toby, you in? You got to keep watching now, I'm assuming?
Oh, of course. Yeah. I mean, it's Scarlet Witch, so yeah. I do think there's some real people in there, though. I think Monica Rambeau is real.
Okay.
Or at least the person I think is Monica.
Yeah.
I think she's real. I think there's a few people there's a few people in there that are similar to them, as like wondering what they're doing in that reality, right? Mm-hmm. So I think those people are actually real.
Who else says something like that? Does she?
Yeah, the African American lady, when they're at the party, she actually tells Scarlet Witch going, I'm not sure why I'm here. And
she was talking about being like why she's at the party, but you think it's like why she's there. I know Kat Dennings is supposed to be in a bunch of episodes too, and she's Thor. She's from the first couple Thor movies. So maybe she'll be.
I don't know how Von Strucker's going to come back into it. He died in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Ultron killed him.
Did Ultron kill Strucker?
Yeah, he kills him in the cell, and then the piece is written in blood on the wall.
Oh, I barely remember that.
Yeah, it's a really quick scene in Age of Ultron.
Huh. I haven't seen Age of Ultron in a long time. I should go rewatch that. Yeah. I don't know. Yeah, I mean, I feel like Monica Rambeau is kind of the one other character in here that, I mean, because she's a real character, so it would make sense if she's somehow sucked into this reality or
well, it could be something where Wanda controlling these people and they're having their own moments of levity.
It might.
I was going to say, I either the people aren't real or her reality powers has taken over a town and she's changed all the people in the town to the role she wants them to have.
Yeah, Pleasantville, baby.
Yeah. Well, there was that.
Pleasant Hill.
Pleasant Hill. There was some comparisons to Pleasantville when she pulled, like the red, the blood and the helicopter.
Yeah.
And there's like the red. Is it the red light on the star?
The red light on the toaster.
On the toaster. So you're like, okay,
which is a reference to them calling or to the nickname she had for Vision, which was in the comics, which was Toaster.
Okay. I don't think she ever called him Toaster.
Yeah, she called him Toaster.
I think people called Vision that as an insult.
Yeah, but I think
Scarlet would call him Toaster.
Yeah, it came up that she would call him. It was a nickname she had for him.
Citation needed.
Okay, give me a second.
You don't have to look it up. I could see Hawkeye calling him a toaster because Hawkeye's a dickhead. WandaVision.
Yeah, it even happens in Tom King's run. She calls him a damn toaster.
I don't remember that at all. So there's, WandaVision that was really neat. I like it. It's very experimental, very cool. We'll see what the heck they do going forward. I don't know. Nobody knows, obviously. There's lots of cool little Easter eggs. I will eat my hat if a walking, talking cow shows up in like the 7th episode, walking around with the High Evolutionary. So I wouldn't hold your breath. But I guess you never know.
Here you go.
I love the fact that you added that to with the High Evolutionary. It's like if you add enough conditions, it would be very hard to hit all of them.
There you go. There you go, Ryan.
I suppose a walking, talking cow could show up in some minor fashion.
Hey, maybe the cow
like an animated thing.
Too.
What's that?
Maybe it'll introduce scrolls too.
Scrolls?
Yeah, the cows and the scrolls.
Oh.
And bring the Fantastic Four. It's all based on the cow.
Well, I don't think it is. Okay. Any last comments? Anything to go out? Toby, got any last?
Well, there's not much. There's not much there. Yeah. So I'm looking forward to the show going a little faster. That's all.
Yeah. Cool.
Yeah, I thought they did an amazing job. Just emulating those old Dick Van Dyke, Leave It to Beaver, quirky family.
It looks like we're going to get like
it's like the 70s is next.
It looks like Brady Bunch.
Yeah, Brady Bunch is up next.
One of the early trailers I saw, it kind of reminded me a little bit of
Family Ties.
Oh, blanking the name of the show. The one in the 80s. There was like a flashback to the 60s. Wonder Years, thank you.
Wonder Years.
One of those, the one like the Halloween episode, kind of.
Oh yeah.
Ish. Yeah. So I wonder if they're going to do that. We're going to get a Friends episode, maybe, or a Seinfeld episode. Oh
we
shit!
Need Friends, not Seinfeld.
I need a Seinfeld episode so badly. Oh my god, that would be the greatest thing.
Nothing would happen in that episode. Everyone would hate it.
That'd be amazing.
Everyone
Who's
would
Kramer?
hate.
Who's Kramer in this situation? Who's Kramer?
Vision.
Who do they bring in? Wonder Man? Do they bring in Wonder Man as Kramer? Like the crazy neighbor. Vision's Jerry. Scarlet Witch is Elaine. Who's George?
Well, you're forgetting the most important character.
Who's that?
The postal worker guy.
Oh, is he? Newman.
Newman?
Who's Newman in the show? Who's Vision hate? They're gonna bring in Newman. Could be
Grim Reaper.
Grim Reaper. Yeah. There you go. Okay, I like this. I'm building this. I'm gonna make this happen. I'm gonna. Toby, we're gonna deep fake a episode of Seinfeld using Vision actors. Okay. You ready? This is your next project.
No.
What? No? Oh, I need this. I need this so bad. Thank you all for listening to our wonderful episode. We'll we'll touch back in a couple weeks on
once we understand more of what's happening in the show.
Yeah. We'll see what happens. Ooh, yeah, just brought me half a key lime pie. I'm gonna eat this in a minute here. But first, we're gonna thank our wonderful Patreon backers: Joe Duff, Jesse Peterson over at Comic Book Matters podcast, Jimmy Rivera at the Social Forum podcast. Jesse, I got to get back to you. I'm supposed to give you a time where we can record because I should be on the Comic Book Matters podcast soon. Andrew Nelson Mendez at Recovery of an Anime Junkie podcast, and Craig Anderson over at ClearPathCoaches.com. If you need a little help being the best professional you can be, go check out Craig.
Isn't Craig going to drop a couple comments on the Facebook page about our Iron Man dislike?
Dude, all those MCU stands are going to get all over my junk. Jim's going to message me like, I can't believe you forgot when the thing happened in the 37 movies ago. You already forgot this one scene.
How did you not know Strucker died?
I did. It's too much. It's too much. I get the comic books and the movies all mixed up in my head. I can't keep them straight. Like, Jim has legitimately watched these movies 100 times or more.
Yeah, because all he does is sit in hotel rooms when he's shipped off places. He's got it. It's his comfort watch, man. It's his.
Yeah. Jim, tell me everything I got wrong. Okay, just lay it out in the Facebook group. Just tell me everything I got wrong.
In the Facebook group, not in text message.
Yeah. Comic book.
Now that he said it, he's totally going to do it too.
Oh, everyone will. This is all people do is just point out everything I get wrong in this podcast every week. All our previous episodes are at geekbox.net and comicconspiracypodcast.com, as well as at the Apple Podcast app and Spotify. Head over to patreon.com/comicconspiracy and kick us a couple bucks if you would like for help support this podcast. Give these bozos a little bit of credit for their work here. Thank you very much for all our backers. I call you bozos. That was pretty mean.
Yeah, you called
conspiracy. He called us a lot worse. So.
Yeah, Bozo's kind of a weird phrase. I'm so influenced by these old TV shows.
No, it was just that haha comic we sold out of this past week.
I didn't even get a chance to. I didn't even get a chance to look at it. We sold out really fast. Comicsconspiracy.biz is where you can go and purchase comic books for us, either in-store pickup or mail order. Please go support the store there, and follow conspiratorbrock.com. That's Brock's. Website where he posts his pull lists, and unboxing videos and other content.
It's just my content site. Just go check it out.
Yeah, Charlie's got the Wanderers in the Fourth Dimension podcast, all about Doctor Who. Our good friend Kevin, who should be on, I was hoping he'd be on tonight. I'm sure we'll get him on in the next couple of weeks to talk about WandaVision.
Oh,
he's got a weekly interview
something about Kevin after you say this plug.
Okay, he's got a weekly interview series called Between the Panels, which is at fanbasepress.com.
I think I found a copy of his Hellblazer with his letter in the back.
Oh, yeah. He used to write a bunch of letter columns.
I found one. I don't know if it was the first one or if it's the first one or a second one, but it came in that drop of random books from that dude.
Oh.
So it's sitting in his box, so just let him know how much.
Okay. Also, my wife Leanne, she has her website, leannehill.com, as well as her Etsy shop at etsy.com/shop/leannehillart. We can pick up all her artwork and prints on there.
Is she going to do a Bernie print?
No Bernie meme print. Brock wants to know. She says, "Oh my god." What was that, Toby?
She's just gonna redo the one she already did. Just put Bernie in the middle of all of them.
If you're on Twitter, you can follow myself as Ryan Higgins Ryan, Toby's Toby XI, Charlie's Insanity and Chaos. The store is that Kevin. Sorry, the Kevin is that Kevin Sharp, but the store is Comics Con Store. And poor Brock, continuing the daily count.
Yeah,
what are you up to now?
It's over
117 days, whatever. What are you at now? You got a stopwatch? How many minutes?
I'm almost at 100 days.
Are you like Zaz, where every day you scar yourself one scar that you've been banned from Twitter?
No.
Okay, you got chalk like on your walls, just those hashtag
No,
marks?
I just go. Is it been long enough since I sent my last appeal? Sure, I'll send another one. This is connected to your original appeal.
Get you back on, man. They look. They're almost done banning Nazis and QAnon members. Like they'll get back to you soon enough. They got a lot of people to deal with. Geekbox. Talk about all sorts of geeky stuff. We talked about WandaVision this week. What a surprise. Go listen to that podcast. And Manga Machination, some good friends over there. You can listen to their podcast all about manga and anime. Thank you all very much. We'll be back on next week. Should be normal recording, assuming I don't lose power again.
As long as there's no windstorms, fires, earthquakes, or,
California, baby. Love it. That's it. We're done. We'll catch everyone next week.